Good morning and welcome to today's episode. It is October 14th, 2020 on a absolutely gorgeous Wednesday morning in the Pacific time zone. Prayer as activism. So here we are. There are protests all over the country. There's going to continue to be protests all over the country. There is activism right and left, up and down, sideways. There's activism everywhere. There are people who are incredibly angry. There are people who are just feeling hopeless. There are all kinds of situations going on right now. And that is so incredible. That is so fabulous that all of this is happening. And most people probably would say, well, no, this is not fabulous at all that this is happening. This is bad. This is terrible. And I'm going, no, actually, no, it's not. Because the secrets are out of the bag. The secrets are out of the bag. The lies are out of the bag. The story is out of the bag. And that's a good thing. That is a really, really, really good thing to be occurring. So, what does this have to do with activism and prayer? Well, it has a lot to do with activism and prayer. So, prayer as simply a way of making things shift. So isn't that the whole point of activism? Isn't that the whole point? You see something that you really don't like, and you go to the store and get a poster and write it down and stand in front of City Hall or whatever and protest, or you get involved in an organization that's for that and all of that stuff. And one of the things that's interesting about it is that many times becoming an activist, getting involved in an organization, etc. and so on, the whole structure of it all starts to become exactly what people were protesting against in the first place. And so it's like, let's talk about, just real simply, the French Revolution. So the French Revolution was about, getting rid of the there were lots of reasons, but essentially getting rid of the aristocracy, getting rid of the elites, all etc. and so on. They got rid of them all, and then after that was all over, they ended up it all going back to exactly the way it was. But there was still a shift. There was still a shift. And so, the kind of activism like Silence Equals Death, which was ACT UP, and things like that are so Black Lives Matter. These things are so important because they give voice to the truth that is being suppressed. That's all great. It's just wonderful that all of that is going on. However, there is also another way of approaching it. And for people who are a little older and don't have that kind of energy to really get out there and rah-rah about it all, there is this one magical thing that we have all been given equally in the world, and that is the action of prayer. So prayer as activism. The thing about it is, though, that if prayer is used in the context of, I want it to be a certain way, that's when we have a problem. That's when there's a problem. Because then it's my ego. Then it's my ego mind wanting to, hey, how are you? Good. That is my ego mind wanting it to be a certain way, instead of me saying to the greater power, thy will, not mine, be done. That's simple. Acknowledging the fact that there's something going on that's not working. And then saying to God, to the universe, whatever, I acknowledge that fact. This is not working. How can I be of maximum benefit to this? Thy will, not mine, be done. It takes the ego mind away. Not something the ego particularly wants, because we all want it to be right. And we all seem to want simple answers. What if the answers weren't simple? What if it really took monumental efforts, both physically as well as prayer-wise, for things to change? What if that was the case? The ego doesn't want that. The ego wants simplicity. The ego wants it all wrapped up. That's why crime stories, the 70 or so odd years of crime film and television series, everything is always wrapped up in an hour and life is perfect again. And it typically ends up on a humorous, light note at the end when the bad guys are going away. Unfortunately, that's not how life works. That's not how life works. It has to be transcended. It is not about it all getting wrapped up in a nice little bow after an hour plus 20 minutes of commercials. That's just not how it works. And that is really hard. That's really hard, to just have to sit in prayer over and over and over again, asking simply, thy will, not mine, be done. So look at it. Look at your prayer. Look at what is the motivation behind. Oh dear. So non-specific prayer. That's a good way of saying it. Non-specific prayer. Acknowledge that there is something going on. It is not right. Maybe talk to God about it being my perception of things. But ultimately just releasing that I think I know what's best. And just simply pray that I see that there's a problem going on. Thy will, not mine, be done. Thank you so much for listening this morning. Merci beaucoup. Bonne journée.